Hello everyone, this is Gautam from Shailaja IS. The issue that we will be discussing here is about the Zomato workers strike. Now what had happened in the December last week, which is your holiday season, where people are going to, you can say, enjoy their holiday, sit at home, order many things. So it was expected that the gig workers, especially workers from your Zomato, Swiggy, Flipkart, Amazon, it was expected they were going to have too much of work orders. But at the same time, your All India Federation of App-based Transport Workers, which says that it is having around 1 lakh workers under its organization. They are workers from your app-based transport workers like Zomato, Swiggy, Instamart, and other such platforms. They announced a strike. They announced a nationwide strike, saying that there are certain demands that these transport workers are, you can say, asking for with regard to their platform organizations, and they said that we are going to conduct a strike. But immediately after the New Year's Eve, around January 2nd or 3rd, your Zomato CEO Dipender Goyal comes out into the press and says that the workers' protest was not actually successful. In fact, the platform ran its operations in a smooth manner, and there was, you can say, unprecedented orders which are delivered in a successful manner. And he said that the workers who are striking were all a certain small circle of, you can say, workers who are with vested interest, and they just wanted to create some sort of a instability or the chaos. So this news item itself created a larger debate on the social media, whereby questions were raised that is this platforms actually benefiting workers, or is it really harmful for the workers, and the demands that these workers are protesting for, are they genuine demands, and what is the government doing? Has it really taken any measures, or if at all it has taken certain measures, why it has been inadequate? Why, you can say, workers are claiming that these platforms are not doing the best for them. Okay, so that was the entire issue. We'll try and see one after another. So we'll first understand what are the benefits of the gig economy itself. Gig means a small task or a small work. Unlike an employer-employee status, whereby he is going to work for a full time. For example, if I am running any coaching institute, I recruit an employee. He or she is going to sit for 9 hours or 8 hours in a day and be completely associated with my organization. Unlike this, gig economy is a part-time job. So I might say that, okay, this is a part-piece work, and I might recruit another person and I might pay him or her the payment according to that particular piece of work. So that is called as a gig, and the entire economy is based on this model, whereby you are not a full-time employee, but you are a part-time employee who gets the incentive as per the task that is finished. There's no fixed monthly salary. There is no, you can say, provident fund benefits. No, nothing like that. It's all based on your gig work. It's all based on the task that you are going to complete. For example, I ask a certain person to make questions for me. I'll pay him according to the questions that he has provided. So that sort of a, you can say, a relationship is there between your employer and the worker. Okay. The entire economy is now turning towards this gig economy, right? Whereby there are certain platforms which have emerged who are running on this model itself. So we'll try and understand what are the benefits of gig economy. We'll try and understand how these platforms are dictating the working conditions of the employees. We'll try and understand that. And finally, we'll look into the demands that the protesters are asking for. Are they fair enough in asking such and such a demand? And lastly, we'll understand if the government has taken certain measures and if at all these measures are adequate. Now coming to the benefits of your gig economy. First and foremost, there is going to be flexibility. There is going to be increased independence and autonomy. A worker has the flexibility to choose the time and the amount of work that he is going to do. For example, if I am a gig worker, I can clearly say, okay, I'm going to teach only 3 hours of a class for 2 months. I'm going to teach only in the afternoon session. So that is a flexibility that is being provided by this gig working conditions. Okay, and because of this flexibility, I also have an ability to diversify and increase my income. So for example, there are many students who are undertaking or undergoing education in their college, but as a part-time work in the evening once the college finishes, they are going to undertake this work which will supplement their income source. It's the same with me also. For example, if I run a coaching institute and later for 2 or 3 hours on a weekends, I might, you can say, work part-time for another institute. It will help me supplement my income or diversify my income sources. Third important benefit of gig economy is it is inclusive in its nature. So it provides an opportunity for, you can say, marginal sections of society to participate in this economy. For especially women. Women generally are burdened with your household care work. In such a situation, a woman can choose to work during her free time. This allows her to work on her own terms and conditions, and also empowers her by increasing her financial independence, right? And from a business perspective, this model is actually cost effective. It's also scalable in nature. Okay, so you can see platforms like Swiggy or Zomato or Flipkart or Amazon or Uber Eats, all these are working on this gig economy model, whereby they are going to hire people on a you can say flexible sort of a basis. It's a contractual sort of a basis. So these are some of the advantages of your gig economy. So when you look from a worker perspective also, it is good because it is providing me flexibility, autonomy, independence, additional source of income. It is also empowering certain sections of society. From a business perspective also, it is beneficial because it is cost effective. But if we look at the working of these gig workers, especially your app-based gig workers, we see certain issues that have been arising in the last couple of years. The first and foremost concern is your black box of incentives. What do you mean by black box? Means that which is not transparent. So whatever incentive structure the companies are providing for their gig workers, it is not transparent in nature. For example, a Zomato worker might have an incentive structure which says that if you complete 14 orders in a day, you are going to be paid additional 500 rupees on that particular day. So even if a worker completes 12 orders or 13 orders, since he is not fulfilling that particular criteria, he will be losing out on the incentives. Okay. So whatever is the flexibility which the companies are trying to sell, is it really the flexible option for the worker? Certainly not. Because these app-based workers are getting trapped into these incentive structures which are not designed in consultation with the workers themselves. Because all these incentive structures are determined solely by the company's management without having the consultation with your workers. So that is one of the biggest, you can say, hurdle or the criticism of this gig economy. And they also say that there is dynamic pricing and dynamic income for these workers. So there is no steady source of income, or there is no base pay on top of which they can earn more. Some days they might earn 2000 rupees, some days they might earn 500 rupees. And in this age where the prices of goods and services are increasing, where the prices of fuel cost is increasing, where the insurance and the maintenance charges of all these vehicles are increasing, not having a steady income is actually a disadvantage for the gig worker. Okay, so they're saying that this dynamic pricing is putting the income in a more volatile situation for the workers. Another important aspect is lack of social security. Since they are not given the tag of an employee, the companies are not mandated to provide them benefits like provident fund, to provide them benefits like health insurance, to provide them benefits like pension or accident coverage or all those medical leaves. So since they are not given the status of employee, all the social security benefits are not provided to the gig workers. If you are provided the status of employee, for example, you're working in a Tata Steel plant, you are given a designation of an employee in an employer list, your name is added, he is allowed to be a part of a union, is allowed for certain leaves, is allowed mandatorily for certain health insurance, provident funds and other things. So all these sorts of benefits are being not given for the gig workers. And finally, there is a granular monitoring that is happening through these apps. So whatever is the illusion that has been created that workers have a choice, workers have independence, is it really so? Because these apps are monitoring how much time you're logging in, how much time you're logging out, which orders you're picking up, which orders you're canceling. So, and accordingly, they're trying to, you can say, change or modify their incentive structures. So, is the choice really there for the worker? That is the question that is now being raised. So, as a result, your protesters have been time and again asking for certain changes in the work, in the relationship with your company. They are demanding certain things, and because of which they came onto the streets. And as per the news, they said that nearly 1 lakh workers protested on the New Year's Eve, right? But there are some conflicting reports. Your Zomato CEO says that not that much, you can say, workers actually protested, right? But anyways, let us look into the demands and try and see if these demands are fair enough, if these demands are legitimate or not. First and foremost, their demand is fair pay. They're saying that you please provide a minimum base pay, which is around your 20 or 24,000 rupees, and it can, depending upon the role, depending upon the working conditions, the base pay has to be increased till 40,000. So that is one of the important requirement of this protesting workers, and they are also saying per kilometer cost should be increased to 24 to 25 rupees. Right now it is around 17 to 18 rupees depending upon the cities that they are living in. So they are saying that since the fuel costs are increasing, you please increase the pay for kilometer to 20 to 25 and also provide us some basic minimum pay in the range of 24,000 rupees. I think it's a valid demand because of income volatility that they are facing. Another important demand they are saying is, this has actually captured the attention of the national media. The 10-minute model, whatever promises these platforms are giving, that if you order now, within 10 minutes you're going to get your delivery. This is unnecessarily creating pressure on the workers to deliver in the short span of time, and they are risking their lives, they are violating your traffic rules. And they say that you need to scrap this model itself. So scrap this 10-minute model. On the other side, your platforms are saying that we don't really keep a tracker on the drivers over the delivery partners. They don't get a timer saying that, okay, 10 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, you have to deliver. No. So in fact, they say that such kind of tracking is not done. So workers are living within the proximity of the customers. So they are able to naturally deliver within 10 minutes. That is the argument given by your platforms. But because of this pressure, many of the platforms like your Zepto, Swiggy, Zomato, all of them are right now suspended this 10-minute model. They are not branding, they can say, their services as a 10-minute model. They are not doing it right now because of the backlash and because of the debate that this protest had given rise to. Right? Next is your social security and recognition. Don't treat them as your delivery partners. Treat them as your employees. The moment you are given a legal recognition of an employee, you will be allowed to form trade unions. You will be allowed for collective bargaining in the form of unions. You will be allowed for health insurance, social insurance, provident fund benefits, and other such things. So they are saying that don't please consider us delivery partners. This is a fancy word. Please treat us as full-time employees, right? And finally, they're also saying that whatever are the grievances, it's not only that customers are having complaints, which is going to be resolved by the company. Sometimes, or many a times, these workers are also having certain grievances. They say that all these grievances right now are being dealt by an AI bot. Okay, and they say that this needs to go beyond your AI bots, and there needs to be a human intervention to resolve your grievances or queries. Okay, so that is one of the core demand of your protesting workers, and I think it's a fair demand also. So all the demands with regard to your base pay, with regard to de-risking their lives because of the 10-minute model, with regard to social security recognition, and with regard to the grievance redressal mechanisms, can be considered as a fair itself. And it is not that government is blind to all these things. Okay, for the last 7-8 years, when we are seeing the rise of your quick commerce and all this app-based gig work economy flourishing in metro cities, the government is also conscious about it and is trying to frame certain policies or legislations. And in 2020, in your Code of Social Security, gig workers or gig economy was officially recognized. However, it fell short of equating that with an employee status, right? Because gig workers means part-time and flexibility, and not a full-time one. Employee certainly means that you are committed to an organization itself. Okay, so the government fell short of equating that with your employee status. Nevertheless, they said that the economy is undergoing a shift and such type of gig workers are increasing in number, and we need to provide some official recognition. We need to provide certain safeguards to them. And one of the safeguards that they have provided is that all these app-based platforms, 1 to 2% of their annual turnover. For example, if the annual turnover is around 100 crores, around 2 crores they are going to contribute to a workers' welfare fund, all the companies. And whoever are the gig workers registered, they are going to get benefits through this gig workers' welfare fund. So that provision has been included in your Code of Social Security 2020, right? And recently, the government has also published rules in order to operationalize it. However, one of the rule is actually somewhat controversial. What they say is that in the draft rules, it is not a full-fledged rule, it's a draft rule. It says that workers must be engaged for at least 90 days with a single aggregator to qualify for all these benefits. Now that is being debated. Okay, continuous 90 days. For example, if on 85th day he is going to take a leave, he will not be eligible for the benefit. So there are, you can say, debate which is happening whether this particular rule is correct or not, or should it be made more flexible and more worker friendly. Okay. And finally, some of the states have enacted their own legislations to deal with this, because labor is in your concurrent list, right? Therefore, your state level legislations have also been passed. For example, your Karnataka, your Rajasthan, Haryana, all of them have passed your gig worker specific legislations, which more or less provides them certain benefits, which provides them health insurance coverage, and which says that there has to be a dedicated welfare fund which is going to be contributed by all these app platforms, and that fund will be utilized for the welfare of the workers, be it with regard to providing insurance, be it with providing accident compensation or other such needs, right? Now, where is this government measures falling short? That is what, there is a paralysis with regard to your implementation, and obviously, as I told you, they are still not given the status of an employee. As a result, you'll not be legally having that right to form unions. Why unions are very important? Because it gives you collective bargaining power. Suppose you are dealing with a management, a single employee negotiating with a management is different, whereas a union representing around 100, 300 employees or thousands or lakhs of employees negotiating with the management is different. You generally have a greater power, and you can get your demands fulfilled in a better manner whenever there is a unionization of your labor. It also has its side effects, it also has its negatives. Most of the time, they are resistant to change. They become a cartel. They try to control the operations of your factory or an organization. And it is not good from an expansion perspective, whereby labor unions are dictating the relationship. Okay? So there has to be a trade-off with regard to worker benefit and your business innovation and business scalability part of it. Okay, so somehow the government in the future has to come out with policies which balances both your workers' welfare, provides them with the right set of benefits, try to push all these corporate companies to take care of your workers. At the same time, make sure that the conditions or policies are conducive enough for more such businesses to come up and scale. Because ultimately, these are the companies which are generating employment. And we need more and more employment in the coming days, given that our population is increasing day by day. Okay? So as a result, the issue is a very nuanced one. The demands of the workers are fair enough, but the government has to somehow create conducive policies which balances both your workers' welfare as well as your business innovation and business scalability. Okay? So there is one question which I have given. Well, the gig economy is often hailed or often praised as a solution to India's unemployment crisis. Recent protests have highlighted the growing conflict between algorithmic management and the workers' welfare. Now discuss the structural challenges of the gig model. and suggest measures to balance your business innovation with sustainable livelihoods. So that is the question. Try and attempt it and send it to me on this number. You can either WhatsApp me or Telegram to me on this number, or you can mail it to my email ID. Thank you.